My house in Taiyuan, which was worth 500,000 yuan, was auctioned off by the court. When the court transferred the remaining 700 yuan to me, I was completely shocked. You heard that right. I was only left with a few hundred yuan. Looks like I've lost almost everything.
The man in the video said that the main reason he defaulted was because he had no income during the pandemic. After he defaulted, the bank sued him and froze all his accounts. He discovered that over 2 years, he had only paid off the interest, with just 20,000 yuan of the principal repaid. He also had to pay a lot of fees, like bank penalties and court costs, which he deeply regretted. My house is now foreclosed. In 2019, I spent 2 million yuan on a 110 square meter, 3-bedroom apartment in Dongguan. I made a 600,000 yuan down payment and took out a 1.4 million yuan loan, with monthly payments of over 8,000 yuan. Then I lost my job and had to default on the mortgage. I found out that I paid over 300,000 yuan, but more than 200,000 yuan went to interest, and I still owe 1.3 million yuan. After defaulting, the woman faced severe difficulties. Her house was foreclosed, and all her bank cards were frozen, including her WeChat wallet. She also had to pay penalties, lawyer fees, and court costs, totaling over 100,000 yuan. With the current poor state of China's real estate market, banks can only auction houses at lower prices than what they're worth. If her house is successfully auctioned, her total loss could amount to 800,000 to 900,000 yuan. In fact, many people in China right now deeply regret deciding to buy a house.
My advice to all young people is never buy a house, even if you're getting married. Last year, I bought a BYD car, and it depreciated 30,000 to 40,000 yuan in half a year. Over the past year, the house I bought devalued and lost over 400,000 yuan, plus interest, meaning my family's efforts over the past few years have been in vain. If this continues, I'm afraid my mental health will deteriorate. Everything I buy depreciates, causing me extreme distress, and I can't sleep at night.
Recently, a 30-year-old man in China was asked about marriage during a street interview. He replied, "I don't even dare to get married. How can I even afford it? I have to pay 6,000 yuan for the mortgage and over 3,000 yuan for the car loan every month. I can't afford any more expenses. I've been wearing the same clothes for 4 to 5 years and haven't bought new ones. Every time I drive, I'm extremely cautious, fearing I'll get fined." The real estate industry holds a significant position in China's economy, accounting for 60% to 70% of household wealth. However, with the prolonged economic downturn, the debt crisis in the real estate market is worsening, dealing a heavy blow to those who have invested their life savings in real estate. According to data recently released by Hong Kong's CEIC, household debt in China exceeded 11 trillion in January 2024. Compared to 5 years ago, China's household debt has increased by 50%, with mortgages being the primary cause. China's real estate market has been thriving for a long time, with house prices rising continuously, far outpacing GDP growth. Many people took out loans to buy houses, and the loan amounts kept rising. Now, with the economic downturn and high unemployment rates, many people cannot afford their mortgages, leading to foreclosures. However, due to falling house prices, the auction proceeds are not enough to cover the loans, leaving many people in debt. A client of mine spent the savings of 3 generations to buy a house, and in just 3 years, its value dropped by 1.2 million yuan. His mother cried so much her eyes were swollen, and his father chain-smoked and his hair turned gray overnight. In 2021, to buy him a house, his parents scraped together money from everywhere, even resorting to use his grandparents' retirement savings, and borrowed 300,000 yuan from their relatives. They made an 800,000 yuan down payment and took out a 1 million yuan loan to buy an 82 square meter, 2-bedroom apartment at 20,000 yuan per square meter. Now the price has halved, and the house is only worth 800,000 yuan. They've lost a down payment, and selling the house won't even cover the bank loan. How is this family supposed to survive this? A recent survey also highlights the housing crisis faced by the Chinese people. According to Reuters, a private survey on January 22nd showed a 43% year-on-year increase in the number of foreclosed houses in China in 2023. This underscores the worrying trend of rising mortgage defaults amid a sluggish real estate market and weak economic recovery. To stimulate the stagnant Chinese real estate market, the government has introduced measures such as lifting housing purchase restrictions, hoping for a market recovery. However, the stimulus policies seem ineffective as the Chinese public remains pessimistic about the housing market, and more people are choosing to buy properties in Thailand. According to Bloomberg, data from Thailand's government housing bank shows that the total value of apartment sales in Thailand reached 73 billion baht, about $2 billion in 2023, a 25% increase from 2022. Chinese buyers purchased 6,614 apartments, totaling 34 billion baht, or about $927 million, accounting for nearly 46% of the total apartments sold in Thailand. This has made them the largest group of foreign buyers and boosted local property demand to pre-pandemic levels. General Manager of Henderson Property in Bangkok, Zhang Hongfeng, also noticed the influx of Chinese buyers. He said, quote, about 95% of our clients are foreigners, with Chinese clients accounting for about 80% to 90%. Many Chinese people are applying for elite visas, student visas, and work visas to stay in Thailand. Especially after experiencing the pandemic, some have become more determined to stay abroad. Buying a small house in a nearby place like Thailand doesn't cost much. Zhang Hongfeng used to work for a construction company in China before being sent to Bangkok. By chance, he joined Henderson Property, a Chinese-Thai joint venture. He's been working in Thailand for over 6 years now and knows a lot about the local real estate market. Thailand's government has certain rules to protect Thai citizens' rights to buy homes, like the 49-51 principle, which means foreigners can only buy up to 49% of a condo's units, or buying property in Thailand doesn't get you citizenship. Despite these restrictions, Chinese buyers are still flocking there. Thailand offers permanent visa-free entry for Chinese citizens and various visas that allow stays of over a year, like student, work, dependent, and retirement visas, which can all be renewed annually. There's also an elite visa that can last up to 20 years. Plus, there's no anti-Chinese sentiment in Thailand, so these restrictions are in fact not an obstacle to Chinese buyers. Zhang Hongfeng said, some people want an extra layer of security. Most of my clients already own at least one property in China and are not from the lower social classes. They're at best only middle class. I had a client who bought one apartment, saw the return was good after a year, and then asked us to help him buy about 10 more units. Most investments in Thailand are due to economic reasons, since it's relatively cheaper here compared to China. A former advisor at Thai real estate company AP Thai in Bangkok, named Machuda Balsamran, also noticed the growing number of Chinese people in Thailand. She saw that Chinese signs are common in restaurants and supermarkets in Bangkok's Hoi Quang district, making it look like a little China. This area seems to be the top choice for Chinese people looking to buy property in Bangkok. Machuda said, from my observation, many Chinese people are investing, learning Thai, or traveling in Thailand. You can see Chinese people everywhere in places like Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and other areas. Before the pandemic, Chinese buyers were the largest group of foreign property buyers in Thailand. Even though other countries were earlier to lift the pandemic lockdown, so Chinese people came here later. The number of Chinese property buyers still keeps surging, making them once more the largest group of foreign buyers. Eric, who lives in Fujian and worked in China's financial industry for several years before becoming a freelancer, is one such example of a Chinese person buying property in Thailand. Eric explained, in the past 2 years, the real estate situation in China hasn't been great. If you invest in real estate in China, the future returns won't be very high and might even depreciate. Why choose Thailand? First, the cost isn't that high. Second, Thailand is relatively close to China. Third, among Southeast Asian countries, Thailand has a large Chinese community and attracts many Chinese tourists. Considering all these factors, Thailand is a suitable destination for overseas investment. Recently, Eric spent about 2 million yuan to buy 2 apartments in Bangkok. each with an area between 25 and 35 square meters. He described them as one-bedroom units with a small kitchen and bathroom suitable for single occupancy. His main reasons for buying property in Bangkok were for personal use and investment. Eric admits that he didn't do his calculations carefully when he first bought an apartment in Bangkok. There were additional costs that he did not factor in, so it was not a very good investment, with a potential return of less than 5%. However, Eric said that at least the investment wouldn't depreciate like in China's real estate market. In the long term, Thailand has the potential to be a transit station for him if the economic situation in China worsens. Eric added, "This is somewhat related to changes in the situation in China. If there are less good opportunities in China, I might consider good ones abroad, including possibly immigrating or living abroad long term." More and more wealthy Chinese are retiring in Thailand or moving there with their children. The Singapore International School Bangkok has benefited the most, with the number of Chinese students enrolled in March last year more than doubling compared to the same period in 2022. The surge in enrollment has caused its stock price to soar by 216% over the past 12 months. Ms. Chin, an immigration agent in Thailand, has helped many Chinese people with their visas. She said, "I've assisted people from ages 3.5 to 66, mainly parents accompanying their children. I'm not exactly sure why they come to Thailand, but many have gone to Chiang Mai." Mr. Liu, a Chinese businessman in Thailand, mentioned that many people from Shanghai are moving to Thailand. There's a well-known international school here, and I heard that when the new semester started, they admitted 300 new students, and more than half were from Shanghai. The 3 months of strict lockdowns in Shanghai left them completely hopeless, so many decided to move here. Mr. Yang, a Chinese resident in Thailand, shared that the Chinese government's extreme lockdowns during the 3-year pandemic made many Chinese people realize how oppressive the regime is, prompting them to leave for freedom. Mr. Yang said, "During the 3 years of the pandemic, the Chinese Communist Party's iron fist woke up a lot of Chinese people. You couldn't go to work without getting vaccinated or wearing a mask. The food given to ordinary folks was rotten, but officials and those with connections had plenty of the best produce. And even though regular people had to pay more, they couldn't get decent quality food. Everyone was aware of this." According to Reuters, Thai real estate agent Owen Zhu said that earlier, Chinese buyers were mainly investing in properties. However, after the pandemic, the situation changed significantly. Most Chinese now prefer buying luxury apartments for their own use. Owen also mentioned that many Chinese clients are looking to buy luxury apartments in Bangkok worth around 2 million yuan. This amount in China's top-tier cities would only get them a basic house in a less desirable location. So some people sell their property in China to buy a better one here for retirement. According to Chinese media reports, Mr. Hu from Huangzhou and his wife ran an education training business, but couldn't sustain it due to the pandemic and crackdowns on the tutoring industry. Early in 2022, they decided to leave China, moving to Thailand with their 4-year-old daughter and 4 elderly relatives to accompany their daughter's studies. The reasons for choosing Thailand included the country's familiar culture, easy visa process, pleasant climate, and education system resembling that of Western countries, with options like IB programs and Cambridge curricula. Compared to China, it's less cumbersome. In recent years, a new wave of immigration has swept China, making immigration a hot search term on Chinese social media platforms. On October 19th last year, the term was searched over 500 million times on WeChat in a single day. In late January of the same year, emigrating to Thailand was searched over 300,000 times in one day. Data shows that by 2022, about 110,000 to 130,000 new Chinese immigrants had settled in Thailand for reasons including business, education, retirement, and leisure. The primary reasons Chinese people choose to emigrate are related to the economic environment and the bursting of the real estate bubble. Mr. Wen, who is planning to emigrate, said that even private enterprises in China are facing wage delays and performance bonuses are being cut. My sister's daughter is an elementary school teacher, and her performance pay has been cut. My youngest daughter's kindergarten has also closed. Mr. Wen said that those who are more open-minded decided to leave the moment they realized the possibility of debts, without any second thought. For instance, a house bought for 2 million yuan with a 1.5 million yuan bank loan and a 500,000 yuan down payment has now depreciated by 500,000 yuan. Seeing this, people decide to abandon the house and leave rather than continue paying the loan. Chinese financial scholar He Jianbing believes that the influx of Chinese capital will boost Thailand's economic development. But to Chinese people, it indicates extreme pessimism about China's economic prospects. He Jianbing analyzed, in financial investments, there are almost no options. Trusts have also collapsed with falling house prices, and the stock market has been sluggish for a long time. House prices are falling in cities of all sizes across China. Our real economy mainly relies on real estate and being the world's factory, but with companies like Foxconn and Apple moving their supply chains to Southeast Asia, Thailand has become one of the best destinations for Chinese middle-class investments. An associate professor of politics at Aston University in the UK, Miao Ying noted that favorable local policies for foreigners, buying property, and the relative ease of moving to Thailand compared to Western countries play a role. Not only that, the urgency of the Chinese middle class to invest abroad highlights their fatigue with China's overly competitive society. Miao Ying explained, due to the pandemic, people have been reconsidering what they want in life. Generally, Thailand is perceived in China as a place with a slower pace of life. The competitiveness in China is overwhelming, so people feel that living abroad might offer a better lifestyle. With Western immigration policies tightening, Thailand has become more attractive in comparison. However, He Jianbing warned that if the trend of Chinese middle class investing in Thailand continues, it will undoubtedly exacerbate China's economic problems. The fact that these people are considered middle class means they are the managerial and elite class in various industries in China. If the wealthy and talented leave, what will be left for China's economy? This would make China's economic situation even worse.